Hey everybody, it's Bust with Busted Strategies number 15. I'm going to jump in on another Innistrad Premier Draft. Let's get to it. Get to it. Yeah, let's see how this goes. We've pushed our way into Diamond this past week. Been been having the struggles pushing up through Diamond. It's this is where we're kind of stuck at the moment. Been doing quite a bit of learning as far as this format goes, but we've definitely stalled in the climb. I think we'll break free of this pretty soon. Starting to get a better understanding in the format. Um, I think kind of like the big thing I'm starting to kind of make the realizations on is like what cards your deck kind of like looks like and likes and wants, in the sense that if we're drafting blue, then are we using these to say like be in the blue black zombies deck, or are we using this to be in kind of like the blue white disturb deck, and not really letting ourselves get in these spaces to where we're trying to draft blue black, but we have like a big like disturb collection of cards. So if that makes sense, we'll talk about it if any of these situations come up. But let's see here. I'm interested in the Celestus. I haven't had a chance to play it in a deck, but I still think this is quite good. Every time it's been played against us, it's been mega awkward and strong. But these abilities are all strong. The ramp ability is good. I think this is okay. We aren't missing out on too much here. There is a Moonrager Slash, which is fine. There's things like the Dreadhound and Vengeful Strangler, which are fine, but I don't think we're missing out on anything big and picking up the Celestius. I could see passing it, but what else are we taking? We'd be taking like a Gale Drifter. I guess I could see taking Dreadhound. I do really like Dreadhound, but let's just stick with the mana card here. Okay, and that makes any color, right? Yes, it does. Alrighty, well, interesting pack. Not a lot going on here. And so, as we kind of mentioned with the Celestius, if we want to, or in the initial part, if we want to take advantage of the night and day theme, the Digraph Horde isn't really doing much with that. Although we can use the Celestius to, if our opponent's playing werewolves, to flip it back to day on them and things like that. But here, I'm not really amped up about too many of these cards. I'm looking to just pick up Digraph Horde. The Spell Rune Painter, Join the Dance, Defend the Celestius. That's not any like real ideal build around kind of stuff. Like if we're going to be out here drafting green, then we need like high powered cards and not that dude. And so I think the Digraph Horde is the take for us here. It's a lot of filler amongst all these cards. Okay, well, here's where the payoff looking things show up when you take a Digraph Horde. And so with this, I'm looking towards the Eaten Alive. I mean, a lot of powerful things here, but I think just taking the removal spells is where we want to be. It should push us more towards a zombie-based strategy, but we can see this works out in blue. The Eaten Alive works out both in the zombie decks and in the aristocrats decks. So we'll be looking to blue-black or to blue-white here. Second Eaten Alive, don't mind if I do. Pretty strong. We saw the blue-green dude up there. We didn't take him, but lots of options as far as that's concerned. And a defense straight, looking good. So this is where I kind of like I question what I do in some of these drafts, as to where we come out here, we've just taken these like really high-powered removal spells. We don't have any like early plays, but um, it seems like we don't have a whole lot of direction here. But I mean, these are all going fine. Happy enough to pick up the Ghoulish Procession. This works both in the Zombies deck and in the Aristocrats deck. We've been a little bit greedy with these Siege Zombies and letting these roll around, but usually if we just pick up one or two of them, it's okay. It's only in pack one. We can really kind of focus on one later if we need to, given that we just have so much removal here. Yeah, this is looking good. Looking like powerful stuff here. We just need the zombie generation, and these Eaten Alives will be ready to pop off. Celestius. You gain a life and get to loot. Paying 3 to loot is kind of expensive, but it's very powerful in the late game. Okay, so Hydrate. and make some decisions. There's just the Crawl from the Cellar and the Shady Traveler. I do really like Crawl from the Cellars. I like to have one of them in all of these decks that we play. And then the Shady Traveler is fairly replaceable, but like I think we have to just make sure we have some early game plays here. So I'm gonna pick up the Shady Traveler. Like at the end of the day, if we don't have the Raise Dead, I'm kind of okay with it. But if we just don't have any of these early plays, we're really going to be hurting. Then, not a huge fan of Heirloom Mirror. We've given this a go once. It does work out reasonably if you have some of kind of like the Disturb cards, but like this dude's really awkward. You're playing it at like sorcery speed and getting the flip, and then it doesn't untap itself, and so you make the big dude and then can't do anything for a turn. I'm gonna pick the Sun Gold Barrage here. I don't think we're ever gonna play this because our removal's so good, but it's a removal spell for us to hopefully make something work with. All right, and so then with these, it's like I'm kind of tempted to take a No Way Out. We're going to go with the Candle Grove Witch here. I could be happy enough if we end up in white-black, and I don't think we need to like go out of our way to take these behemoths. I was going to say I'm kind of looking at the No Way Out as just the way to get some card advantage and generate the zombie, because we need the zombie generation for our Eaten Alives and all this stuff, but I think the Witch is going to do a bit more here. It's tough to give these flying. These decks have issues with getting like a 1 or a 4 attack unit unless you have the tapper, but I think this is okay. All right, take your choice of the green cards. We are taking none of them. Ritual Guardian's fine. He's decent at stalling the game. Granted, if you can hit a Coven, it's really weird trying to find Coven decks that are trying to be defensive, but you can do it. I don't think we're not gonna be amped to play a Ritual Guardian, but he may make the cut. He's definitely like a 23rd card. Okay, and a Corpse Cobble. I'm not. We're like 100% most certainly playing black, right? We're not getting away from this Eaten Alive and all the removal spells and the Digraph Horde. I could see a world where we abandon white and decide to play blue-black though. Corpse Cobble's fine. Larder Zombie's okay-ish. He's kind of like a 20th card into a deck, but I don't want to say that we're really locked into white because these are very fillery white cards and they don't really play to the sacrifice theme. This is more of an aggressive strategy with the Candle Witch and the Ritual Guardian, and so we have more white cards, but I'm leaning towards playing blue-black with what we've picked up. Okay, not opposed to playing Flip the Switches. I've been pretty happy with this. Component Collector we're not going to play though. So yeah, I do think it looks like we're pushing over to blue-black. Let me see how these cards will look. Not a huge fan of Stormkirk Blood Thief in these decks. I don't think we need the value generation from something like Mysterious Tome, so we can let those go. We have the Celestius to generate value if we need to. These cards are fairly weak. I think I'm just looking at like Olivia's Midnight Ambush, and then hoping that we table one of Baithook Angler, Fading Hope, or Revenge of the Drowned, likely being the Baithook Angler. But I want to pick the kind of early game removal play here. I feel like I can safely just move these white cards out, and then as we see the Zombie Lord, I think we most certainly can. I think this is okay. I'm not huge on Olivia's Midnight Ambush. We can combo this with the Celestius to turn it to night if we want, but we're never passing on the Scab here. It just does everything we need. It's a great early game play, and then it boosts all of our zombies. I think this is looking nice and strong. Curve looks good. There's no 4s in here, but yeah, I like it. I wanted to say I want to check out like the number of 2-drop units that we have. Like we just have the 1 Scab and the 1 Larder Zombie. It's a little tough. Like again, I like to hit like 6 or 7 or 8 1 and 2 drops in this format. But we're kind of on the way there. Blue-black has a bit of a struggle in filling those out. You're usually trying to get like Ecstatic Awakeners and Larder Zombies just to have something to play. But strong. It's even like if you get this big pile of Ecstatic Awakeners, if you play like the Awakener on 1 and Awakener on 2, and then on turn 3 you flip it, that tends to be fine. There's a lot of decks that just have real issues with you putting big dudes on the board like that. Okay, well, this is not a good set of blue-black cards. I mean, we just take the Locked in the Cemetery here. We're not playing Naya. All right. It's so weird to me with green. Like, I see a lot of the build-around stuff for green show up. Things like Root Coil Creeper making appearances, and it's just like, I feel like if I'm not hitting a bunch of Shadow Beast sightings, I don't want anything to do at all with green. But anyways, with this pack, we have the choice. We can get a second flip to switch. There's the Unblinking Observer as just a 2-drop or the Crawl from the Cellar. I'm not really amped about any of these. I'm going to take the Unblinking Observer just because I want the early game play. And I think we can generate enough card advantage with things like the Celestius to not be upset about missing out on these Crawl from the Cellars. We've seen a metric shit ton of these. I think this is the card that we've talked so much about that I bet we end up at the end of the day without having one, but we'll see. Siege Zombies, easily the pick here. We certainly want to find one of those. Here's the Shadow Beast sighting we were talking about, but we can't use Ominous Roost here. I do love me an Ominous Roost, but this isn't the place for it. We're just going to be taking Revenge of the Drowned out of these. I could see an argument for a Stormrider Spirit, but especially given all the removal that we have, but I like having one Revenge of the Drowned here. Which one are you? You're probably just never going to play this thing, right? He does things like attack. When it comes blocking it gets -1, and then if he's flipped, it does the same thing. But he deals some damages. Not real interested in that. I'm just going to take our first Crawl from the Cellar here. Okay. Shipwreck Sifters probably won't make the cut, but it is a cheaper play. Here we go. Here's the Bait Hook Angler for our early curve. So yeah, like at this point, we need to find like something expensive. Like I don't want Digraph Horde to be the only top end of our curve. But then otherwise, I think this is a pretty decent start. Picking up the Anglers is nice to give us the early plays. We are lacking a bit of zombie generation, right? We don't have too much beyond Flip the Switch, but I think we're okay in that sense. Yeah, I like what's happening here. Can play those component collectors with our Celestius. But alright, what are we doing here? It almost feels like we should be taking this Ecstatic Awakener over the Defense Straight, given that we have so much removal. But I don't think I can bring myself to do that. That's hopefully what we're going to be tabling here, is the Ecstatic Awakener. There is a Drown Yard Amalgam here. We may end up just like having to play something like this if we just have, at the end of the day, we just have like the one Digraph Horde. But it's not that hard to find like, you're like, well, I want 2 5-drops. I have to find something. It's not that hard to find like the Drown Yard Amalgam or the 3/3 Flying Flash. Just those aren't the ones we want. We want Digraph Hordes and like a Morkut Behemoth. Take the Defense Straight. Memory Deluge. That's always a big one. Just some big time card advantage out of that thing. I worry that we're just like letting these Falcon Abominations and Ecstatic Awakeners go, but I think the Memory Deluge is probably powerful enough to come in and take. Oh boy, and a Curse of Surveillance. Like, take the Deluge away. Give me that Zombie Flyer and put the Curse of Awakener in our deck. Man, just no other blue or black cards outside of this Curse. Probably want to play it. It's definitely one of those cards that, like, if you find the time to play it, you just never lose the game, right? If you're able to just draw a metric ton of cards off of the Curse of Surveillance, but if you fall the slightest bit behind, this guy doesn't do anything, and so it can be a bit of a struggle. Yeah, I think, like, my only problem with this deck is we don't have, like, ways to win the game, and they need something to help us win the game. I guess Curse of Surveillance helps to a degree, but it's a bit of a struggle. I think this is coming together okay, though. I don't think we're going to play these Shipwreck Sifters. We don't have the spirits to boost them. Do a bit of cleanup here real quick. Definitely happy to be picking up these Bait Hook Anglers. Give us a nice early game blocker. It's very sacrificable to things like our Eaten Alive. It's a very, very reasonable unit here. Kind of want to hang on to the Observer, but this is the one that I'm looking at as being our cut at this point. We only got non-creatures. Oh boy. Boy. Well, I'm gonna take the hobbling zombie out of these. Just a generator, a zombie generator, and a strong unit. Do we? I think we can live with the novice occultist. Like, I see the Stormrider spirit, and I just worry that we're gonna have these games to where we've got like a Curse of Surveillance, and we're drawing a bunch of cards, but we just don't have anything to finish. Like, I guess we could look to finish with Corpse Cobbles if we're able to get like a pile of zombies. I guess I could see that being a thing. I have played Crossroads Candle Guide before. I don't think this is the deck for him, but he does give us the access to some stats. Okay. Not playing any of these. Probably won't pick up anything else the rest of the way. All green cards. There's a red card. Somebody's getting that 14th pick Bird Admirer. There's the winner. That dude's assuredly going to 7-0. Okay, okay. Well, we got a deck here. The Back to Nature can go. So interesting is, like, as I look at these, I'm pretty tempted to hang on to the Crossroads Candle Guide. I think it just gives us, a little bit of meat into our curve. I think it's reasonable to stay. Here, Revenge of the Drowned, I think I do want to take out. We've got 2 defense straights, 2 eaten alives. I think that's enough removal to not need that thing. So that can stay. Now, otherwise, I don't think we can take any of our units out. We've only got 12 creatures. Sword of 13 with Corpse Cobble, Sword of 14 with Ghoulish Procession, and then we have the flip the switches. So it's not like we don't have any units, but we certainly don't have a lot. So I'm looking here. I could see taking out Crawl from the cellar. We don't have a whole lot of things to be returning, but kind of on the flip side, we might need it to be like returning our siege zombies to actually close out these games. So I'm not opposed to hanging onto it. Eaten Alive never goes. I think it's going to come down to taking out some of these removals. Oh, I think we can do this. Like, what if we take out the Candle Guide, we take out 1 Flip the Switch, and then we take out the Locked in the Cemetery. And that leaves us with a whopping 11 creatures, which is technically more, right? We technically have more than that. But as I look at this, I was also thinking of taking out this Unblinking Observer. Maybe we take the Observer out and put the Flip the Switch back in. We don't have any big spells to ramp into. I think that's okay. Yeah. I'm on board with this. I think I like this. The control deck of the century. Yeah, that's the only thing that worries me. Is like we're not super good at holding down the ground. We don't have like any big, like wallish kind of blockers, but I think this is okay. Counting on Corpse Cobble to do a lot of work. Yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so let's jump in. Get settled in. If we can pull out some wins here, this should be like a 7-hour video. And let's get in there. Let's get to it. Right around 7 hours with a deck like this. But this isn't like a super high-powered start, but I don't think we can mulligan. It's kind of sucks that we're on the draw with a hand like this, but like, if we were on the play, I'd feel much better about it. It's got the tools for success. Good, the Angler gives us a nice interactive play here. All right, MJNHU. Let's get that land on the board. There you go. Sure. All the devoted graph keepers. We don't have too much graveyard interaction, just our digraph horde here. No ways to really come out and get rid of these things. Here come the aggros. So I don't think we're in any kind of hurry to get damage in. There's no reason to attack. We'll just get the werewolf down and pass. It should be tough for them to like get a tap, but we're gonna fall pretty far behind if we let him come out here and just start tapping our stuff. But at least with the way that this hand plays out, we get the we can like play a land on our turn and pass, flip the Shady Traveler to 4/4 side, and then maybe flip the switch something. Oh boy. Boy, somebody has all the cards. It's like that flip the switch play just does not seem good anymore. We need something to start going right. You're almost dead. Almost there. Is he gonna have like Nebelgeist as well? I mean, it feels like he was reading into our flip the switch, but so given this dude has played 2 uncommon disturbs and then the Lord, wouldn't be surprised for him to be like, Nebelgeist as well, just for the have-it-alls. Can't let that kind of thing happen. So flip the switch. I can't see us ever winning this game. We're too far ahead, or too far behind. Like even if he's going to take us to 2, we can't draw 2 answers to both of these flyers. But let's see. And that's a game. Maybe it won't be a 7-hour video if we keep running into that. All right. But yeah, we've started struggling at Diamond here. I feel like I'm starting to get a decent grasp on the format now. Again, it was kind of like I feel like in a lot of our drafts we'd be say like drafting blue-white, but then we have like the white disturb cards, but the black, or if we're drafting blue-white, we'd have like the white disturb cards, but then like the other half of the deck wouldn't be there. And I feel like we're kind of starting to fix that and recognizing, well, this is a quality card, but it belongs in a different archetype than what you're currently drafting. But let's see, not a bad start. We get the decent curve going here. Could ramp out with the Celestus. Not opposed to it. Like our aggression is going to fall off quickly. Oops. Uh-oh. Discard the Craw from the cellar. Didn't pick up a land, but we've we've at least got it better than our opponent here. More than willing to trade off either of these. Cool. Even better. I wonder if he's worried about like a Nebelgeist or something. we're good to discard Corpse Cobble. Well, I don't think we really need to land. Like, we can pick up one eventually. If we don't get to play a Digraph Horde next turn, it's not a big deal. Oh. we'll figure this out eventually. I'll get these in the right order before it's all said and done. Got him. Not too surprising. That was they missed a land drop on 2 and got punished for it. Tempo zombies. That's what that's what we're doing. Tempo zombies today. Okay, okay. It's not bad. When's this video? Thursday? This video come out on a Thursday. Hope you all get ready for your Thursday night footballs. 3 days a week, man. It feels good. Love the NFL season being here. 3 days of excitement, 4 days of rest. it's the way it should be, right? I can't imagine they wouldn't prefer to just have games on every day of the week, but that's what makes it kind of exciting though with football is that with the NBA, I just don't care until the playoffs. There's 80 games in the season. It's so hard for any game to ever be relevant that I don't care. But you're only playing 17. Every game matters quite a bit. But all right, back to the action here. We'll go ahead and keep this one. Not a super powerful hand, but it has early game plays for us to get things going with. Okay. Spend all that mana. What does this stuff look like? X is the total power of the creature sacrificed. Is like I want to sacrifice off like some amount of our board, but the Corpse Cobble does not work well with our collection of units. I mean, it sucks. It sucks to pass on removal spells, but we need to find our 4th land here. Do it again. Alright, well, we're not gonna play removal spells today. We can stop doing this now. Between the memory deluge will get us pretty far as far as picking up cards is concerned. Not much coming out of this guy. We got him pretty well shut down with the dudes we have on board. Curious if this just gets hit with like a removal spell. Does not. Let's pick up the Midnight Ambush in the land. Get rid of the 2 flashback cards. All right. Looks powerful. Man, it's tempting to just hold on to the Digraph Horde so that we can try and use it for a try and use it to exile away some of these disturb cards, but I think this is fine. Not real sure what they're doing. It seems like they've got the mana to do stuff. I can't imagine that their idea was to just play the clues. I mean, maybe they're just flooded. Take action. Don't want to swamp. We will draw the removal spell. It doesn't look that good here, but I want to hang on to the defense straight. And now I think we're pretty free to start attacking with Digraph Horde. Like, he can attack. He's going to take down 2 of these disturb units. Then ideally, on his turn, we'll like Corpse Cobble away 2 zombies and the occultist. I don't want to go like ham on Corpse Cobbles here because they tend to have access to like bounce spells and stuff. But I don't think getting rid of that small selection of units is bad. And then, I mean, we're getting a 7/7 out of it because we have the Scab on board. Okay. One of the more annoying units in the Graphkeeper, but I don't think he's worth a defense trait. I mean, it could be, but that tap ability is fairly annoying. I don't feel like we need a hobbling zombie at this point. Alright, let's get the big boys in there. This feels like one of these attacks where we'll get a good defense straight off of our Digraph Horde. Let him survive some battles here. Don't think I'm ready to lose it, and then we want to play this flip the switch kind of as quickly as we can. The downside to protecting our Digraph Horde is it takes away our ability to Corpse Cobble on our opponent's turn, when we're going to have just like a few giant units here. I think this is okay to actually let this happen. If things, you know, start to look bad, we have the removal spells here. Yeah, I think we're good to Corpse Cobble. We have access to like, flip the switch and to make a zombie, a block this turn to make a zombie. I don't think any of that will really play out, but got some options. Do not care. That's the place to be in, right? You just don't care about this stuff. Gotta start worrying about this. These are gonna be lethal quick. Let's just leave the morning patrol in the back. The kind of play we were expecting to get out of our siege zombie, but now we just get the 4-for-1 on the attack. I have to imagine this ends it pretty quickly. Cool stuff happening. Do have a way to win the game with with the corpse cobbles. Okay. Just gonna go ahead and flip the switch. He's got to pay the mana for it, so it's gonna keep him from playing cards. And then I really just want the zombie out of this. Okay. You can only block flyers. Right. Turns into it's not troublesome spirit. It's something else. Sure. There was an actual good magic card at one point in time. The 3/1 flyer can't block, or 3/1 flyer can only block creatures with flying. I can't remember what it was. It was back in back when Rebels was a deck. But all right. So where are we lethal here? We've got 8. Can kill off this thing. Alright, there we go. It took a while. It takes a while with those Corpse Cobbles, but we won. We did it. Can't remember that. It wasn't Troublesome Spirit. There was a deck when Rebels was good. There would have been like the Masks Block Pro Tour, which I'm sure was just horrifically awful to play. Because the thing with the Mass Block Pro Tour, if you want some history, the best deck far and away in the format in Mass Block constructed was Rebels with Lyn Civi. It was a legendary creature. It was the best Rebel Searcher in the game, and the thing also with that format was, nowadays both players can have the same legend on the board. In the past, you couldn't, and so not only was like being on the play just the best thing ever, but if you got to play like the most important card, a 3-mana creature, before your opponent got to play it, then they just couldn't play it the rest of the game, and it was just absolutely insane. So thankfully those rules are fixed, but it's still in that format there was a deck that would use that 3/1 flyer. I can't remember what it was called. And then there was a 3/4 flyer called Troublesome Spirit that as the downside for getting such a good creature, the downside for getting, a 3/4 flyer for 4 mana was that it tapped all your land at the end of your turn. So it was out there trying to take advantage of that with cards that kind of like stasis off land, and then it had artifact mana in it, so it could continue to play stuff, and then it would play like gushes and thwarts to play spells by returning lands to your hand. But anyways, to move beyond today's history lesson, I think we like, do we really want Larder Zombie here? I think we just want the 2 units. We need to find something to do. So I'm going to take the Zombie and the Shady Traveler. Be done from this point. I mean, he's playing red-black. I have to assume he wants to be some kind of aggressive deck and just has a really weird draw. So I think all of this is okay. I'm going to eat and alive this. This is one of the higher quality units that he could have access to. But let's add the Ghoulish Procession. We need non-token creatures to die to take advantage of that, so let's add the Bait Hook Angler. Then we'll go ahead and eat and alive. Nope. Oh, fuck. Okay, whew. Let us take it back. All right, sacrifice a creature, target his, and then sacrifice one. Alrighty, that was almost a disaster. Almost. That's a pretty good digraph horde, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Losing our memory deluge really sucks. Alright, so do we want to push for a 4/4 Corpse Cobble? I think we can probably get like a little bit more going. Let's just get on board with this Shady Traveler. It's like we're not at any risk of dying anytime soon. So let's just develop our board a little bit here. We can start to improve our card quality with this zombie. Then we can look to Corpse Cobble on his turn. I like it. Nope. I mean, I think if we just have time, we'll be okay. If he gets to play a trick and kill off one of our units, I'm not really upset about it. I just feel like our late game has to be so much better than theirs. But we don't have late game. Let's be real. But I feel like if given the chance to draw more cards, we should be able to spend more mana than they can. I think that's probably the way to call it. So we get the unit back. We should hopefully be able to just get a surprise Corpse Cobble on the next turn. Actually glad he left our zombie as well. I think I would rather have the zombie than have... No! I'd rather have the zombie than the 2/3, so we can come out here and improve our card quality. Alright, so he's out of cards. And then we get just a big block onto Florian next turn. Okay. See so many people play this post-combat, and then you don't get the card draw. It seems like a bait to do it that way. Nice. Now we get the Procession, we get another Siege Zombie activation. Feels like we're pretty far ahead now. Did it go to night? Did I hear the noise? Oh, it is night, so we could potentially midnight ambush. I forgot that that was even going to be a thing here. What do you think? I like it. It's night. Minus 13. That just gets us to lethal. And then I do believe as well with this Corpse Cobble, if we're going to come in and attack with those zombie tokens, that we can put the Decay will stack after they deal their damage, and then we can sacrifice them all to Corpse Cobble that way. Cool. Feels good. Everybody likes to win a game every once in a while. Alright, gotta check those text messages. I'm sorry. Shouldn't do that in the middle of the movies, but I don't know how many times my mom has asked me if you need cable for Netflix. I felt like I've explained it well every time, but apparently not. Apparently not. But she's getting it figured out. Mom's doing okay. She'll figure out how to get her Netflix. Oh, I hit all attack and got a little confused there. This looks fine. Opponent has some kind of crappy draw where they're playing clues on the second turn, but we have plenty of stall until we can get this. Like, we're just going to flip the switch whatever they play. I don't care what it is. Maybe? No? Maybe we don't say that? Oh, he had to discard? I haven't seen somebody have, like, the forced discard in ages. That sucks, dude. He can very realistically recover in this game, though. We aren't doing anything, right? Like, we're going to be doing bait hook, angler, digraph, horde, aggro. Like, dude has plenty of time to recover. I don't want you to get the impression that this game is over since they stalled on land for a bit. But Heirloom Mirror is something I'm happy to get rid of. I don't want them drawing the land. Alrighty, well that was enough for the concession. Sorry, yeah, that was not our strongest win. Right. Fix the lighting. My face is beautiful now. You're welcome. I know that's what people come here for. Number one, it's the sweet accent I got. Number two, it's the pretty face and the nice lighting. That's what they're all here for. Mediocre gameplay probably ranks at 3, and then bad mathematics is at number 4. So I got you covered. But you go to most people's things, you're only there for like 2 reasons, though. So we got at least 4. That's twice as good as the other videos. Twice as good. Okay. Let's see what shows up here. These hands, these hands have been pretty sketch that we've been keeping. This is a little too high on the sketchy side of things. So let's send that one back. This is better. Can ship off the memory deluge, and then we at least have some stuff going on in the early game. Boop. And here comes the aggro angler. Opponent kept it fair. They went to 6 as well. Sure. Hard counter to our bait hook angler strategy here, but can't have good matchups all the time. Let's get all these cool cards down. Attacking with the angler now. Man, I was just thinking, what would you magicians think if you could get a 1/2 flyer for 2 mana that if it dealt combat damage to your opponent, it put a 2/1 hexproof for 1 mana into your hand? It would be okay. Wouldn't be as ridiculous as in Runeterra, I don't think, but a lot more attacking going on in Runeterra. It'd be a fantastic Magic card, though. Alright, well this seems like another quite awkward draw from opponents as to where playing some kind of blue-red strategy where their only play in the early game is Voldaren Stinger. That seems decent for us. They were on a mulligan, as were we, but we are almost out of stuff to do. We should hopefully be able to kind of correct our draws, though. We got the zombie ready to start milling away our lands. You highlighting my zombie for? Okay. Alrighty, we'll pick up the removal spell. Don't get to work on our card quality anymore, but And is what it is. Aggro. That's what we're doing now, bringing the aggro. Send it right in, Hook Hot Drifter. Okay, no blocks. Nothing. Opponent. It's the strangest of hands. I mean, they just really just have a handful of removal, and they don't want to spend it on our bait hook anglers. Okay. Seems fine to me. What do we even got? We even got any good draws in here? We need to find the Celestius. Is that who we're looking for? Alright, well if he's investing all the mana in this, I'm going to defenstrate it. Just get it out of here. What a game. What a game. You gotta defenstrate the Voldaren Stingers. Alrighty, well, let's get in for our point of damage. One, please. One damage, please. Alrighty. Well, at this stage, like I think that we need to at least start hanging on to the land in the event that we do draw a. Okay. Wow. I was gonna say in the event that we draw a Celestius, is that what it's called? The Celestius, but doesn't seem really worthwhile. I think opponents just kind of like done with the game. I can't imagine you're like really happy with how things are going if you're like if you had a werewolf and did that for the scry, then sure, but I can't imagine being real happy about playing that thing on just a zombie token. It doesn't do anything. All right, we're getting them with the birds. This is a bird with the spirits. No, no. I mean, we can leave it for a turn, but we're not letting him draw cards with this thing. We're getting close. One away from lethal. I mean, look at all this stuff. All right, Digraph Horde should be enough to close this one down. But I want to hit their instant spells. That's what they're going to be most likely to replay here. Okay. What a game. Sorry, dude. That wasn't the highlight of your day as far as games are concerned, but got us up to Diamond 3. That was a thing, at least. Okay, in the positive, get the plus 100 gems on the run. Not on the day though. This has not been a good day of drafting. I had a goose egg earlier in the day, and so it's so brutal on the economy. You gotta have them sometimes, but oof. Yeah, I'd even do it in Runeterra on occasion. As fantastic as we were at the expeditions, we'd occasionally have a couple O2s. Okay, so what are we working with here? That's a acceptable hand. It's the Murica card back. Alright, then let's lead out with the Novice Occultist. We're not getting too much out of the Blade Stitch Scab, and that's one of our higher value units to lose here. So if we throw the chaplain or the Occultist in front of the chaplain and he plays a card or something, we don't really care. Okay. mean, I think it's fine to throw hobbling zombies in front of the shipwreck sifters. The disturbed decks tend to not have a bunch of ground-based units that we can get profitable trades with our zombies out of. This matchup is just not very good for us. This isn't at least as bad as that dude from earlier with the big blowouts, but it's definitely not something I'm excited about. All right, let's just be ready with flip the switch. It should be obvious that we're up to shenanigans, but so yeah, well that's certainly worthy of a flip. Aggro. Make sure you say aggro when you do stuff like this. Make sure units perform a little better. It's all about the performance right now. Okay. And then we probably have to eaten alive the Shieldgeist. Oh, I was like, oh, do we have the mana for the curse? Do not. Okay, so let's see if we can do this in the proper order. Target. We want the flyer. Yes, we want to target it. Sacrifice a creature. I would love to pay the 1 mana. Alrighty, and that gets us close. I mean, getting a Curse of Surveillance down should do quite a bit of work. We're not at a big risk of dying anytime soon. Tempted to also defense straight off the Shipwreck Sifter. It's not the highest value of plays, but it's like tough for these decks to play ground units that we really care about. So what's his angle here? Is it just a Loyal Griff is fine. Corpse Cobble shows up. Cool. Corpse Cobble is, of course, a little bit scary in these matches, given that they can have bounce spells. All right. Well, some downside and some upside, right? He's going to trade the Commando for our Blade Stitch Scab, but then we get to follow up with the big time enchantment. All right. Let's play this right. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, any number of target players other than that player draw cards. So we play this on our opponent. Get to draw cards on their turn. Target me. Draw a card, please. So yeah, he hasn't been ultra aggressive at this point. Hopefully we get to take good advantage of this curse. I mean, you have a pretty good board for this Corpse Cobble as well. Discards Candlegrove Witch. Cool. I guess he doesn't have a coven. Could be tough. Oh no, dude! Boo! What a lame-o. Dang, we're just out here trying to have fun. People. So, I mean, he's going to try and get a block with the Cathar Commando. I think the Bait Hook Angler is still a good attack. Well, he's just going to sacrifice it, right? He's definitely sacrificing his unit before damage. And taking down our curse. I kind of feel like we need to... We'll get this damage in. I think we need to Corpse Cobble now, because I want to get this flyer on board. So 4/4 should be big enough for our purposes here. Could have made a 6/6, but that feels a little greedy. Want to play the Angler. Play the Zombie. Okay, well, I think this game would have been blown out had we been able to keep our curse, but we're in a decent-ish spot. He's got 4 cards in hand, though. There's no joke about that. So wait, I mean, he hasn't really played anything up to this point, so... Alright, let's do some melon. Sure. Let's push stop buttons. Damn, I wanted to stop before our card draw. I don't know how to do that. Like, I guess stop on my upkeep is the one we need to push. Alright. Fun game. Okay, I mean, that's fine-ish. Can we actually Corpse Cobble here? That seems so bad. Like, I'm okay to Corpse Cobble away this Hobbling Zombie, but we need like a 4/4. Oh my god. Getting savaged. I think we're just going to have to do it on his turn now. Just to make it 2/2. We have to get better card draws out of this. I mean, I guess we have some time. And him not playing cards and stopping at 6 land. I have to imagine they have a hand just like completely full of removal spells and stuff. Okay, well. No. Oh my gosh, we do this wrong every time. Target the Griff, sacrifice the zombie. No attacks. End turn. Alright. Sure. Alrighty, we've got a unit to block now. Let's get into combat. Alright, I mean, I guess we can make a 3/3 Corpse Cobble. What else do we have going on here? Maybe he'll attack with the Shipwreck Sifters. Alright, I'm ready to do aggro stuff with our zombie token. We can't attack. We have to just play the zombies. I don't know if we have a way out of this. Flip the switch. I think we're dead. Take the action. Okay. Oh my god. Oh, that's so annoying. Like, I don't know. There has to be something that we've done, but this has been like twice since we've wanted to activate the thing, and it's just automatically drawn cards. I guess, I mean, I see on the thing it says to press control if you want to make it stop and stuff, but that's frustrating. All right. Right. Let's get ourselves that 5th win. 6th win? 5th win? Pre-final battle win? That's what we're going for. All right. We'll try. We'll try. Okay. So, this hand's not going to be, well, on the draw, maybe. Like, I would feel better if we had the island and we could just sit on the zombie for a while. And we do have this kind of issue of Curse of Surveillance being in our opener. But as long as we're not against something like really aggressive, we have the chance to bounce right back if we pick up a land and get the Celestius down. I'm gonna keep it. I think we could certainly do a lot worse as far as our hands are concerned. And then just immediately top deck the island. That feels good. I knew we had it in us. See if we're up against another blue-white deck. Those have been giving us some fits today, but probably not. That makes me assume white-black whenever they throw down the unruly mob. Doesn't tend to play well in the other white decks. Yep, sure. But he is a little scary as we're about to drop our Celestius and do some day-night shenanigans with the Do you have any down guard, but I think this is fine. I can't imagine they want to send it to night on turn 4. If they do, they only get 1 activation on this thing. It's not the end of the world. Oh, bringing the heat, huh? Bringing it. All right. Where do we find ourselves here? It's these units are fairly unfortunate in that they don't interact with 3/3s well. I mean, I think we can add like a blade. I think we just have to add both units, and then we can look into say like next turn. Maybe we play a removal. Maybe like we can threaten double blocks on this turn. He doesn't want to attack into our double blocks, I don't imagine. So that might be enough to just shut it down. But let's see what they do. And say if he brings it, I don't intend on blocking though. We'll wait until next turn for that. Gonna send it to night and try to draw a card. Interesting. You could have a Cathar. But I mean, if we can just like stop this for a little bit. He did pick up a unit, unfortunate. If we can stop it for a little bit, we have the opportunity to get bigger than him. Between the Celestius doing stuff and dropping Curse of Surveillance. So we just need a little bit of time, and I'll feel okay. Also got the big boy down in Stalking Predator. Draw a card. Discard a card. I think we just get rid of Corpse Cobble here. I like adding another big boy and the Digraph Horde. Like, he can't be excited about attacking into this board with all of the 4/4s on it. No, I don't want to exile any of our stuff. And then we probably shouldn't attack. Let's give it a turn. It's pretty suspect what they did, passing and then not having anything to do. I was surprised that we didn't see like a defense straight on come down on our turn, but it's fine. I think this will tell a lot. I don't think they have the combat trick now, so I think we're looking good. Whoa, why would you add the Morning Patrol first? Okay, block him. So I mean, if he has a trick here, it's okay. The white ones are going to give it 3/3 and indestructible, so there's no reason to stack a big collection of units on it. Okay. Not that bad. Not that bad. Okay, so he's going to send it back to day as well, which is slightly annoying, but not a huge deal. He's going to get to use his Dawn Guard again, which is we need to get rid of. We have the sacrificable zombies now, though, which is at least a perk. Come on, bud. Let me get the kitty up here. Shit's getting real now. It's getting real. But how sick would this be if he hadn't been able to use this Dawn Guard twice? I mean, he'd be at 0 cards right now. Pick up Siege Zombie. Okay. Sacrifice a creature. Let's get rid of one of these little zombies. Oh, we're doing it wrong already. We do want to target the Dawn Guard. Sacrifice zombie. We'll pay 1. The ward. No attacks. And then this looks good. This looks like a space where we may get a big Corpse Cobble. How do we feel about that? Like, we can just sacrifice all of our dudes, or I'm looking at like all of our dudes except the Scab, getting a big 6/6. We don't have the mana for this though. Oh, hang on, cancel. I want to put the... It's like I'd almost rather keep the Scab as opposed to the zombie, but I think this is okay. He has another combat trick. This sucks, but we can handle the combat trick if his plan is to both flip the Awakener and play a combat trick. Oh, we should have used our zombie, though. Oh, he lets us keep the zombie. Well, that was generous. Thank you, thank you. And hopefully we can just flip the switch on actual anything he plays. This is fine. Hi, bud. You gotta get down. We have one of those death touch units in here. This thing is slightly annoying, but this unruly mob, but I think we're okay. I mean, we could pretty easily make a 6/6 with our Corpse Cobble if we have the mana. Siege zombie. I don't think we want to. I think we're just like, if we draw a removal spell, I think we just almost immediately win the game. Now the next question we have is like, do we want to just run out Curse of Surveillance? We can just block this unruly mob. I think I do like this. The idea with this, like, if we're just drawing 2 cards every turn, I don't think we have to care about leaving Larder Zombie on the board. We're just gonna grind through them either way. Nope. We're gonna do that, but let's block first. Hang on to the Midnight Ambush. We can flip the day night with the Celestius if we want. We can just play, like, we have the means to get this going. Use it to take down the mob. Well, I think I'd rather just Midnight Ambush the Trapper. Okay. Me, pick me. Alright, Defense Strike would be huge. That would be our big draw here. It doesn't happen. I think I'm good to say, like, Corpse Cobble everything and block the Unruly Mob. The only way that this turn really goes bad is if we say... He's only got one card, though. Like, if he... His one card has to be a way to sacrifice off this creature. It's just a matter of if we can win this game before we kill ourselves with the Curse of Surveillance. It's kind of a big ask. All right, so I mean, as far as our graveyard goes, I know we have our Digraph Horde. And that's it's, I mean, we can't be taking Siege Zombies here, so. I guess we could also look to draw discard and flip the Celestius. I don't think that's where we're at this moment. Have to add the Angler. Do start to fall fairly far behind here, though. I worry about these Siege Zombies just doming us. But I mean, we got 2 defense traits left. Well, we need all the defense traits to deal with the Siege Zombies. But yeah, this is my big worry with a deck like this: is we can't do anything to close this out fast. This game's gonna take a while. I think we kind of dead here. Like, we've already spent our. Maybe that was like our mistake in this game, is we should have sacrificed everything to make a big 8/8, and then we would have the 8/8 on the board, because the Scab's not doing anything, and now we just don't have any ways to win the game. Like, we have to win the game with Digraph Horde, and that just kind of requires us to, like, pick up combat tricks so we can trick him in the middle of these combats. Yeah. Yeah, this does not sound good. None of those words I just said make it sound like this game is a positive win. I think we're just dead here. We won't give up on it, but right, I mean, it's like we have to add the Hobbling Zombie just to have a blocker. Can't add the Horde, or just don't have enough mana. You gotta, like, Memory Delusion or removal spells. None of this sounds good. None of this. I think that might have been our path to victory, and we kind of let it slip. I was worried about, like, the 2 things I was worried about with that attack were, like, if we just make the block that we did and he sacrifices something to kill him off, that was, you know, kind of reasoning for us to sacrifice the Scab as well. But then if they have, like, a removal spell or a bounce spell or something, then we're just completely done. And so it was a little odd. We're just dead to him playing a unit here. Right, you can attack with the Apparition, take us to 2, and then Siege Zombie twice. Let's save the time here. I think this one's done. And so yeah, not the worst of decks. Not the best, not the worst. We had a pretty decent result with it. But let's get it pulled up here real quick. I think that was our last one. We fell short in the pre-final battle. Yeah, we only had the 4 wins. So let's see, take just a moment. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, as far as the deck goes, I think that was a little odd. Like, it seems like we needed like one more way to win the game, and we would have been in a pretty good place there. Like we had some struggles against like blue white. That's fine. In that last game though, it was like once we milled the Corpse Cobble and played it, we just didn't have any way to win the game, and so we needed like a little bit something more. Just like a more cut behemoth or whatever would have done wonders as far as carrying us heavily. But otherwise, I'm kind of happy with how this played out. Like these larder zombies have been growing on me. Just the something to do in the early game. The I think kind of blue black's biggest enemy is just not playing enough stuff in the early game. Like it feels real bad if your start is something like involving a siege zombie, right? If you have to play like siege zombie into something on 3, it seems like you fall really far behind, especially if your opponent gets some stats on you. And so I don't like having that. I prefer to think of siege zombie as like a 7-drop, and then have our early game plays be these things like larder zombie and bait hook angler novice occultist that can kind of come down and interact with the board, and ideally shut down the board in the terms of larder zombie. But I don't like to think of seed zombie as a 2. That's why like the blade stitch scab has really kind of grown on me. Like the +1 attack doesn't matter frequently. There's certainly times when it matters, but just having the 2/3 for 2 mana on the second turn just does so many wonders as far as stalling out the game. Like if you're playing against werewolves and they start with say like the red wolf that makes things can't block, and then they follow up with an eccentric farmer, like they just completely get their attack shut down by a blood stitch scab, and that just buys you so much time against those decks. That's why I think it's really important with this guy. But yeah, as far as this deck is concerned, we've played Curse of Surveillance before. I think it's fine. Again, kind of the gift and the curse with the Curse of Surveillance is you have to find boards where you're even or ahead. 5 mana is a pretty big investment on something that doesn't do anything now. And so you kind of need your opponents to stall out a little bit or be kind of slow to be able to play this to any effect. I could definitely see us not wanting the curse. I know in the draft we had some kind of like weird sequences where if we could hindsight, we wouldn't have actually taken this, but the memory deluge may have just been enough card draw for us. Ideally, if we could trade this Curse of Surveillance for an expensive dude, I would really like how this deck turned itself out. But I think the deck itself was pretty good. I think this is kind of standard for how your blue-black decks come together. You're going to value the removal really high. You're going to look for the bottom end of your curve so you don't get overrun. And then you need to find some ways to come out here and generate the zombie tokens. And so Flip the Switch is great. The discard spell's fine. I think we had like a little bit too much of these things, but you could see how good Ghoulish Procession is. This thing was pretty powerful all of the times that we had it. You just got to have yourself some ways to be out here generating these zombies, because you don't want to be sacrificing off real units to be playing the likes of Eaten Alive. So kind of the idea here. But yeah, let's jump into the draft real quick. I think this went okay. I'm not real amped about starting with the Celestus. I think there's formats where this is okay. If you're playing multicolors frequently, and this deck, it wasn't that great. I was glad we got to try it. I've had times where our opponents played this and it was really good. This is, granted with this deck as well, as we have, the deck's gone. I don't know how to get the deck back, but given that we had both the Celestius fade into memory and the curse, I think that we should have just like taking the Celestus was okay, but then we should have really rethought those expensive late gamey cards. We had too much of this kind of late game, let's cycle some lands away kind of stuff. And so I think in hindsight, like this is okay. This plays fine in a lot of decks. It doesn't lock us into a color early. It's 100% playable in all of our decks. But I just see things like the Dreadhound and know how fantastically that would have made our deck here. And so I'm not 100% certain if this pick was a mistake. I do really like the Dreadhound. I like the Vengeful Strangler in a lot of the aggressive base decks. I don't really like it in blue-black, but in black-red and black-white, this plays fantastically. And so I think the pick here should have been Dreadhound. I could see an argument for Moonrager Slash, but I think you don't want to be going out of your way to play red and green. I think if you're finding Moonrager Slashes at like pick 5 or pick 6, then red's open and go for it. But I don't think I want to be taking red cards pick 1. And so I think the pick here should have been Dreadhound, or I mean, I still see the argument for Celestus, but I think Dreadhound is probably the play here. But moving into pack 2, I think this was a very easy digraph horde. We didn't miss out on anything. Again, like, Join the Dance is fine, but I don't want to start off with a low value card like this. I don't want to play green unless I have to. The green opener for me is the Shadow Beast sighting, which this is not. And then otherwise, the rest of the comments here are pretty mediocre. Very easy digraph horde. There was some pause into this one as to if we wanted to kind of branch out from black. I think this is also a pretty easy Eaten Alive, and you can potentially table something like the Vampire Interloper. I think we got really lucky. Is this where we tabled the Corpse Cobble? Because this was like a big part of our deck. You usually can't wheel these uncommon cards, and Corpse Cobble I think is quite a good uncommon. I'd have to scroll down here to see. Yeah, we got it way down here. This actually wheeled. I don't think this is something that will be happening too frequently from this point forward. But I still think the Eaten Alive was the pick here. We don't know if we're gonna what flavor of black we're gonna land in, but the Eaten Alive will be good in any of them. Again, second Eaten Alive, pretty good. Nothing compelling in this pack otherwise. At pick 5, moving in with the defense traits, still nothing wrong with a big pile of removal spells. I think that was a pretty easy take. I don't like how we ended up here. Like, the Ghoulish Procession turned out fine, and I think this is an okay take here. At the end of the day, I would have preferred to have had the Siege Zombie over the Procession, I think, but this is a big engine card in a lot of these decks, and it plays out particularly well in white-black. And then also, if you're able to put together like it plays well with like Ecstatic Awakeners. It's very easy to get this big mountain of ghouls down. But I think the problem here is, like, when we start out with the 2 Eaten Alives and the defense trait with the digraph horde, we're going to be playing some kind of like control-y style black deck, right? We're not going to be in an aggressive white-black deck or an aggressive black-red deck, which is where I think that this wants to live. And so I think we probably should have just taken Siege Zombie out of this one as well. And moving on, we talked extensively about Crawl from the Cellar. We just want one copy. We don't want to go out of our way to get it. And it's more important that we have a good curve. And so I think that was a good Shady Traveler. Not a big reach in the Sun Gold Barrage. We don't know what other second color we're going to be playing is. This one, I still think this pick was okay. I guess kind of the more I think on it, if we were going to end up in the aggressive white-black deck, it's just kind of tough to do given the pile of removals that we have. Maybe we should have just gone ahead and taken the Behemoth. This would have also been a place where we could have kind of fixed our late-game problems. But I think the Candlegrove Witch was okay. It's so good in the white-black deck. It's very easy to have like a 1-cost unit and an Ecstatic Awakener, a 2 in the Candlegrove Witch, and then like a rando white 3-attack dude, and have these flyers coming in. I think this is okay, but this is, again, another one where maybe we should have just taken the Behemoth, given that we already had the kind of some of the token generators. But Ritual Guardian was easy. We weren't playing green. Then the Corpse Cobble kind of locked us up into blue-black. That was a fairly easy take, especially when the zombie comes in and the Flip the Switch comes in. Just extremely good blue cards here at the end. So I felt there were definitely some places in pack 1 we could have cleaned things up. I think if we would have started out with it's kind of weird though, right? If we had taken the Dreadhound over the Celestus, then down here at like pick 9, then we just don't take the Behemoth, and so kind of interesting. Here in pack 2, big old set of weak cards, good enough to take the Midnight Ambush. We didn't see a whole lot out of pack 2. Like the Scab was a nice pass to us, but then people to our left were certainly cutting us off, or we just got a bad collection of packs. And so I don't think anything in pack 2 was too interesting. We were really just taking for the most part, we were taking the only playable card out of every pack. And so I think this one is passable. And then as we come into pack 3, a very weak open, we ended up taking the Memory Deluge. This is where, if we knew we were going to find the Curse of Surveillance in pack 3, I would rather come back to pack 2 and pick up the Falcon Abomination. But it's not the way life works. I would love to have not had to have taken this Curse of Surveillance. I think if there was anything like even borderline playable, we would have just taken it over. Like I guess technically we should say we could have taken consider over the curse, because we did, that was one of our problems. Like we had the good late game stuff, but we didn't have the late game units, right? We had the Celestus, the cursed, and the spell, whatever that was, memory deluge, as our kind of big late game. Let's close this out spells, and that was just way too many. But after that point, I think it was pretty straightforward. Nothing, no really challenging picks in any of these packs rolling up. There's only been one good card in most of these for the most part. But all right, yeah, not a bad draft. I had a lot of fun with that one. I thought that was good. And I keep wanting to cancel out the draft before we get to the packs. I'm ready to say the closing lines, and we still got all these packs to open. So let's see what we find our ways here. Alrighty, what are you? I didn't even know this dude existed. When he enters the battlefield, or another non-token human, you can. When he comes into play or something dies, make a dude, gives a human lifelink. You have exactly 13. He flips into a giant dude. Well, he's gonna be serviceable and limited. I don't think it's a bomb by any means, but he seems more like a casual kind of card. Dinnick, though, he's pretty decent. The big disturb on this is pretty good, and so generating these investigates is pretty nice as well. He's the real deal. Got the same bonuses as the scabbed zombie we were talking about, being a 2/3 for 2. Very good in this format. All right, mythic. No, burn down the house. Nope, not enough to make me want to play red. It's been seeing a bit of playing constructed, but that's not what this one here was about. Falconwrath Pit Fighter, sure. Jackal Pup with some upside. Consuming Blob, what are you? He Lurgoyfs and generates Lurgoyfs? Yeah, that's a real beast to deal with in limited. I'd be willing to play green for that guy. Curse of Surveillance, we've seen that one. Haunted Ridge. I feel like I'm getting pretty close to completing a lot of this collection. Feels like I've picked up a bunch of the lands here recently. We'll have to see. I'll put together I've been doing like a weekly recap video and only posting it on the site over at ftpbus.com, and I'll get that all kind of figured out. We'll put that video together in the next day or so. But we also got a vault. Mythics. It's almost like, oh, we got 2 rares. It's the same in every vault, isn't it? There was no upgrade here, but the rares were the big ones for us. Good. We can do a little bit more constructed stuff here. Picked up 3 rares and another mythic. Feels pretty good. So yeah, not a bad run. I hope you all enjoyed it. Maybe learned how to cobble your corpses a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.